Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I have been away from social media and specifically from my YouTube channel for quite a while. About 1.5 years, but I'm back into creating videos for YouTube, and today is my first technique video for quite a while. It's about hot foiling technique, and it's about negative and positive hot foiling, where I, for example, create this negative background and this negative text. But there are some, I would say, significant info to tell, because last Christmas in December 2021, I actually found out that my Glimmer hot foil system had been worn down. I had been struggling for a couple of months getting good results, and I couldn't understand it, because in the beginning I got really good hot foil results, and then suddenly I just couldn't get a really good impression. And on top of that, it turned out that my Sizzix Big Shot was also in the process of being worn out. So a combination of those two things actually meant that I had absolutely no chance of getting any good results in hot foiling. But what happens is that my Glimmer hot foil system breaks down first. That is what I realized. My best friend, crafty friend, she brought her Glimmer hot foil by and we tested out, and I realized that my platform had sunk. It had collapsed in the middle. So that was one crafty tool out the trash. Then 2 weeks later, I come to the realization that my Sizzix Big Shot is also broken. It was two big crafty tools that I had to purchase, all new. It was not expected, but you know, they are significant and needed products, so I had to buy them. But what happened when I get a new Glimmer hot foil system and a new Sizzix Big Shot is the perfect combo. I am getting the best and most amazing Glimmer hot foil results now. Even better than when I started out. In the beginning, with my old Glimmer hot foil, I had to add shims. Now I don't. I don't have to add other shims than what comes with the Glimmer hot foil. So I just want you to bear that in mind with my new hot foil videos that is coming for in the future, is that I am actually working with a new Glimmer hot foil system and a new Big Shot, or new die cutting machine. As informed earlier on in the beginning, and also by other crafters who does hot foil, it does matter quite a lot how the pressure is from your die cutting machine, depending on if you need to add shims or not. But I just want you to bear that in mind, that even though you also have a Sizzix Big Shot, you might not get the same results. You might have to add shims. That was just what I wanted to tell you. If you want me to do a video about my worn out Glimmer hot foil system, put it in the comments below, and if there's interest, I will consider putting together a video about my worn out hot foil system. Until then, enjoy the video showing out the positive and negative hot foiling. Enjoy. Let's begin. First off, I'm going to get my heat activated foil. I'm going to use the Spellbinders Glimmer foil from this variety pack, and I'm going to use the color Matte Gold. This version usually gets me really good results. We're going to use the PinkFresh Studios Arch Backdrop hot foil plate to make both the positive and the negative background for our cards. I'm using the Spellbinders quick trimmer. I really like using this one to cut bigger pieces because the best part is that I can lay my hot foil plate on top and I don't accidentally scratch the foil, and then I can measure up how big a piece of foil I need to use. With the quick trimmer, you get this foil cutter that you can use. The other cutter is for paper, so you use it for both. But then I make sure that I've got a piece of foil that is big enough to cover the entire arch backdrop. Meanwhile, I'm working here, my Glimmer hot foil system is heating up, and I've found my favorite things, circle hot foil plates. These I want to use for the sentiment that I am planning to use. For this, of course, I also need a piece of foil that is big enough for the circle. This time I just use my scissors because the piece is not so big, then the piece of foil is not too lively to handle. That is actually the thing why I use the quick trimmer, is when the foil pieces get really lively and not so easy to control. There we go. I'm placing my hot foil on my cardstock. One thing to remember is always to have the pretty side against the pretty side. That is what Jennifer Maguire always tells us. I'm using my best ever craft tape to adhere the hot foil plate to the cardstock. It's always a good idea to actually tape your hot foil plates to the cardstock, because when you're going to place them on the Glimmer hot foil plate, you have to place them with the hot foil plate towards the platform. First now, let's get ready for the backdrop, and I'm placing it on my platform, and I'm using both my shims, which comes with the Glimmer hot foil system, and now it is ready. I've cut out the part where it's actually heating up because it's basically boring to look at. I've got my Sizzix Big Shot ready to run the platform through. And let's see, it can be a bit lively, so sometimes it helps using your fingertips to control the shims on top of the platform, and then slowly run it through your die cutting machine. I'm always placing my fingers on top on the other side to make sure I don't get a speed bump when it goes all the way through the Big Shot. Now let's see, I'm removing this one and using the tweezers to remove the plate because it's hot now, so you shouldn't use your fingers to remove it. And we've already prepared this one, so it's ready to go on the platform and have the shims placed on top, and then it can be set to warm up. And let's look at the result we get. This cardstock is actually 250 GSM, and it has a smooth surface, and I got perfect result with this. Now for the negative part, it is advised to use extra smooth, and I have actually found an old pack of glossy photo paper that I want to try out and use for the negative hot foiling. But the circle plate is ready to be run through, and let's see what result we got with this one. Again, use the tweezers to remove it so you don't get your fingers burned. Let's see. To make the negative one, I'm using PinkFresh Studios solid hot foil plate, putting it directly on the platform, and then the negative part of the foil, and then I've got my glossy photo paper, laying it on top. It can be a bit lively, so I'm trying very carefully to put the shims down so it doesn't shift, and then putting the platform on timer again. Meanwhile, we can check out and see how the circle came out. Now I can see there's a bit part on the top that didn't actually foil completely, but that's okay, it doesn't matter. For the sentiment, I'm using Spellbinders Essential Christmas Greetings. And my plan is to put one of them within the circle. So now the platform's ready. Now turn it off and then turn it on again and let it reheat when you're doing negative hot foiling. The extra heating will help with the negative impression. That's a tip I got from Jana Smakula. She's amazing and she makes so good hot foil videos. I recommend you highly to check out her YouTube channel. In the meanwhile, I am preparing the foil for the sentiment, and I'm cutting away the bits I actually don't need, using my best craft tape ever again. I'm lining up the foil with the ring I already made and placing my sentiment within. Now, because it's a round sentiment I'm making, I don't have to be too careful about making sure that the sentiment is horizontal. So basically I just need to make sure it's centered, and then it's taped on and ready to go. Now the platform is it's in its second heating part, and now it's done, and we are ready to run it through the Big Shot. Carefully get the platform out and run it through the Big Shot. Slowly, don't rush it, just let it go in pace, not too fast. Sometimes rushing it might get you a bad result, and also if you get a really big speed bump at the end. Now this is getting very, very interesting to see how it turned out. Oh, it actually followed. Okay, we can get the other one, the sentiment, ready in the meanwhile. Off with the solid hot foil plate, put on the sentiment, and of course I need the shims on top, so that can heat up and get ready while we are checking out how the negative hot foil result has turned out. Now that is actually really good. This is on glossy photo paper. Let's see these two together. You've got the positive and the negative hot foil result here. Now let's get these sentiments finished and done. This is ready to go through the Big Shot again. And let's see. I have a tiny bit of overfoiling on the edges of the letters, but that can be solved by a soft brush. Because it's not really bad, a soft brush is enough. If it's a bit more, you can use a stiffer brush to brush it off. Now, to make my negative sentiment, I'm taking a piece of the same glossy photo paper and using the negative piece here, placing the hot foil on the solid plate and the photo paper on top, and then putting on the shims and let that heat up and get ready. Let's see. I'm turning it off as I did the other time, turning it on again and let it reheat for a second time. Now it's done for the second time and I can run it through the Big Shot. Now it might not be necessary to do the second reheating. You have to test it out and see what works for you. I just like it that I get a good result instead of getting a half good result and have wasted my materials. So it's a choice you have to make. Let's see. Ooh, yeah, it's a hot plate. Getting it off. And now we can check out this sentiment, the negative result. It's not easy to get. There we go. And we can look at it. And as before, this looks really good. Here are the two sentiments, the positive and the negative, ready to be used for cards. Here you see pictures of my finished cards. First the one with the negative background and the positive sentiment, and then the other one, the negative sentiment and the positive background. Now I hope to see you soon again on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you want to. I'm planning on making more YouTube videos for cards, for hot foiling in the future. But until then, have a good day.